Hello everybody, Dren608 here again with Unconditional Surrender Europe, designed by Salvatore Vasta, published by GMT Games. This is the East First campaign series of videos that I'm putting out. My opponent's name is, Board Game Geek's handle is Lucciante, Lucciante. Things are not going well for the Russians. I did make it to August. I had hoped that the West would roll a 4, 5, or 6. They managed to roll a 3, so French were dragging their feet to end the appeasement pact policy that they've been following. So the Russians are left out hanging. Let's pop up all the little boxes. Throw up the turn. Oh, we don't need to turn track. As you can see, the Russians only have 1 willpower left, so yeah, it's going to go badly for them here. And we will just go ahead and get started. We don't need weather. There's no declarations of war. We set production. Oops. With the back keys. Oh, I forgot that I had 8 plus 5. I started actually at 26. I think I correct that and ended up at 25. Gave 1 to the Turks for no good reason. Okay, we got into strategic warfare. We're setting the die rolls here. There's no counters to play for either side, so I'm just hoping to outroll the Germans so I can shove them up to 3. I did check with the designer, Sal, and he said, nope, if you like Russia collapsed and there's no Western marker on here, so there's no strategic warfare, wherever the German marker is, that's where it stays. So there is that. And he rolled a 5, so I need to get a 6 to do anything, and I didn't get it, so he gets back his factory. And then we go from strategic movement. They pick up the infantry way over here in the east, and they move it across the board all the way to the west. And yes, it can go adjacent to my fort there because I have no zone control out of a fort, so he can actually strategically move it into that space. And then the west didn't have one. Oops, I'm hitting back again. The west didn't have one, but the east did. I had the guy outside of Vologda. I moved him over here to make it just a little bit harder to take this town in the north. If I had left that space open, the armor could have gone 2, 4, and had 2 attacks with isolation. So they would have started at +5, added an airplane that's +7, and I have no airplane to fly over here. Because I flew it back to Vologda, I should have flown it up north. I was not thinking. So, some minor little errors. I don't think it would have mattered anyway. I mean, I have enough infantry hanging out here and surrounded that he could most likely figure out a way to kill 1 infantry in this fair weather turn. So I was pretty sure I was going down anyway. But I just thought I should, try and play better. We go into the operations phase, and then he starts off with this infantry. Moves 2 to there, 3 to attack the city. We're in combat commitment, which is kind of yeah, everybody knows that's happening. I threw my tanks to his airplane, and then he also threw in his tanks. Right, where is it? There. So he's +5 to +2. He only rolled a 2, which ready to give him a 7, and then I rolled a 3, +2 gave me a 5. So I stopped him on the first go around, and then you see me, I grabbed the infantry rather than tanks marker. So you're going to see that infantry army move around a bit, and then suddenly come back on the board and get put back where he belongs. And then I took the tanks marker. And then he attacked 1 more time. Threw in his airplane. I threw in my tanks. So it's +3 to +2. He rolls a 5, +3, which is an 8. So I need to get a 4 or better, and I miss. I get a 3, which forces a retreat. We are not playing last stand rule, so I'm forced to retreat. He takes the hex. And at this point, everything stops because national will goes to 0. So I'm going to be collapsed. I'm going to zoom this out a little bit so you can kind of see what's going on all at the same time. So now I'm taking off my airplanes, okay? And then that was my fleet disappearing too. It has to come off. And then I set the sorties to 4 so I wouldn't forget. And now I'm just stacking up all the forts in 1 hex because those come off. And what I did is I had gone around and I had highlighted all the armies here because they all had to be flipped. So I just flipped them all at once rather than one. I just kind of highlighted them all and then said flip. That was me. I thought I was moving just the army. I thought I was moving one army, and I had them all still highlighted. So the entire Russian army, if you saw that, it's kind of cute. It's like, here's the Russian army. It's been flipped. It's all retreated a hex. Nope, it's advanced a hex. So that was me just having everything highlighted when I was trying to do something else. It was just kind of hilarious at the time. And I pointed out to him that he can put something in. What we did there is I think I put a control marker down because the Germans get to put a control marker on any cities inside occupied Russia that they don't currently have, which is Sevastopol. And then he brought the first garrison down. He's going to put it down here. I thought about putting Sevastopol. He plays around trying to figure out where to put it, and then finally ends up putting it adjacent to it. Now, all the German units, when they're repatriating in a Russia collapse, have to go inside occupied USSR, in or adjacent to cities in occupied USSR. Since I got nothing conceded, those parts of Poland, the Baltic states, and Romania, he can't place them there because they're not occupied Russia. So he's actually having to set up a few hexes further east than normal in a Russian collapse. In a West First game, they would be able to set up like in eastern Poland and stuff when they do the repatriation. So his armor and airplanes are going to be just a little farther away. And then we're just going to see him dropping units down. I do point out in a couple of cases that he puts units down where they're not allowed to be, like those guys up there. It's like, well, I want him to be in this defensive position. It's like, well, that's right here. These two will have to be removed. I pointed those out to him, so he put them all in the right place. And then I believe, oh yeah, now the Yugoslavs actually have to go all the way back to Yugoslavia. Romanians have to go all the way back to Romania. And then the Russian unit had to go back to Russia. So I put it outside of Kursk. Just so I didn't have to move anything there later. I lose my factory loss. He gets an extra garrison unit. Into his eliminated box. Then he gets 16 will points. He started at 53. So that takes him up to 70. Started at 57, I'm sorry. Takes him up to 73. So lots of willpower on the German side for me to have to deal with. And then he gets a pro-axis marker. You see there, he put a pro-axis marker into the Diplomacy Cup, right? And then he took this support marker out of Bulgaria, and he activated Bulgaria, and I didn't quite understand why, but he did. I thought he was going to put a pro marker in Italy, but it's like, nope, just want to get Bulgaria in the war. I must be doing something on the turn track, on the national tracks. Oh, no, that's what he's doing. Okay, so now he's down here. He's going to activate this. Let's zoom back in so you guys can see a little bit better. So now he's going to take this first German infantry unit and move it on over into Bulgaria. He started moving that way, and then when he did the count, he started going, well, and just put it there. And then over here, he started to try to move things in the wrong order. He had to move that one out first so he could move that one into there. And then he supplied he supplied his air unit because he wanted to do a replenishment on it because he was going to have, he's got like 20, I think he's supposed to have 21 points left. He's kind of marked at 20, but I think he moved the German marker when he shouldn't have. Because he only activated 5 units. Did he even activate 5? He only activated 4. Oh yeah, he did activate 4. So that was 24 he started at. So yeah, he's in the right place. Anyway, he's done. So the West went, gee, I'm going to supply my airplanes, or my British. I went over to the Soviets. Now, we've always played that the Soviets can't actually do anything in this operations phase. You could read it as each country has their own operations phase, but we kind of said, nah, the Germans can't do nothing. Once Russia collapsed, Russia shouldn't be allowed to do anything either. So that's the way we've always played it. That's the way I play it. I don't care if that's right or wrong. That's the way I'm playing it. So we just skipped out of that, went to no supply, went into the replacements phase for the Axis. Now, I think he spends 3, 6, 9, 12. I think he spends 15 here. He does all 4, the 1 airplane in Norway, the 3 airplanes in the east, and his convoy, if I remember right. So he's fixing up his airplanes, then he fixes up the stuff in the Norway, and then he went into the west, which I am... Oops, I'm doing undos. When we got into the west, I went and did the west, and then I realized that I'm actually allowed to move the Turks with the Russians, and so I asked him if I could just, spend the points that I'd given the Turks to move them around. And he was like, "Yeah, go ahead." So I did my replacements of my infantry there. Oops. I went too far. So if you come down here and look, I think it may be even been in the diplomacy phase. I thought I had him do it earlier than this. Okay, so the upgrades, mobilization, diplomacy, Axis. I could have sworn he let me move the Turks. So he went and pulled a no event, and I said, okay, West, go for it. And I pulled a political failure, which was like a no-brainer for him, pro into Italy. And then, oh, it was here when I was taking the 5 points off for the Brits, or for the Russians. I realized I had 4 points for the Turks. And then I asked him, can I move the Turks? Because I was just going to retreat, knowing that you have active Bulgaria and Germans coming. And he was okay with that, because I just totally forgot the Turks could actually activate in the Russian operations phase. And it wasn't anything earth-shattering. It's like, yeah, get on the other sides of the straits and leave a garrison in Istanbul to slow them down, but you're not going to hold it against determined opposition, so why even try? You lose 2 will points, don't lose an infantry unit at it while you're at it. No reason to lose 3. And then we went back here, and I pulled a no event with the Soviets. And next thing is us just, pulling stuff off the turn track, blah, 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 blah. And then roll for the Western Allies, and this time I get a 6. So on the same day that the Western Allies denounced the appeasement policy and ended it, saying they were going to start going to real war with Germany, the Soviets and the Germans announced the Moscow Treaty. So 1 month too late, Western Allies. And that should be it. We set the end of the one good thing is that there's an extra year of World War II. We'll go into July of 46. We're going to need it because the U.S. is going to come in like way late. But that means there's like almost a whole extra year for the Russian army. And they get their surprise attack markers a year earlier. So those surprise attack markers will probably get used at least 4 times, maybe more, depending on how they're used and when they're used. So, yeah, and then this is me just kind of lining up the... Oops, I'm undoing. I quit undoing things. And it's just me getting the Americans all in the right place because we're using historical. And then we're done. So when we come back next time, we'll be looking at September of 1941. Russia is collapsed. The West is standing against Germany alone. But the Yanks have said, hey, we're coming in. We'll start coming in 6 months. It'll actually be 13 months before I actually get to see an American ground unit. So, yeah, the Americans may be coming, but it's going to be over a year before they even get a ground unit onto the board, and it'll be a couple months after that before it's effective. So it's going to be like 15 months before they can actually attack anything. So that's the way it is. Anyway, I'm Dren608. If you like my videos, please subscribe. Hit that like button so that the YouTube algorithm will know that you guys want to see more videos like this. And we will be back with September in the next video. Until then, stay safe and bye-bye.